What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into another edition of MVP Sports Live right here. You might be watching us on Twitch. You may be watching us on YouTube. No matter how you are watching us, thank you for giving us a little bit of your time today. I am joined, as I always am on this beautiful Monday, with my beautiful co-host, Jake Neverman.
How we doing?
Have I said the word beautiful too much that it's lost all meaning? Beautiful.
Oh, you going Ted Lasso?
Beautiful. Now it just sounds like a sound, Jake. But how you doing? Like, I should say how you doing because we are not recording this. Like, you guys are seeing this at a normal time, but Jake and I are recording this from the past, from where you guys are, because Jake is doing something special today and had to pre-record the show.
Yeah, sorry guys. Fully vaccinated. Now I'm going to a baseball game. Life's slowly getting back to normal.
But Jake, you're breaking the rules. You're not fully vaccinated. You got to wait the 2 weeks after that shot. 2 weeks until you're fully vaccinated.
It'll be all right. We'll survive. It'll be all right.
Jake's like, I've already gone to a Pirate game, man. What do you want from me? I want to go
come on.
to
I basically went to a AAA team game before, and now I got free tickets to go see the Yankees. So how can you say no?
I will say, though, like the baseball stadiums, at least they look spread out.
It's good.
Like, at least they look spread out.
I wasn't near basically anybody. I mean, it's different in a Pirates game because nobody's at them. But the Orioles, Yankees, I mean, the Yankees will bring people, but I'm fine now.
I mean, you don't have to rip on the Pirates like that.
It looked like a normal Pirates game when I went to it, honestly.
I almost said that about the White Sox. When,
no.
I was like, but I like completely forgot about COVID for a second. So I was like, oh man, this is the. See, the White Sox still can't sell out their stadium. And I was like, oh, wait, Ricky, COVID, that's why. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I just had to throw in before we start talking football that on this wonderful Monday, the Clamp God's back. Chris Dunn is probable tonight. The Clamp God, he's a real person, Ricky.
The Clamp God.
Oh, gosh.
But you are right. We are talking football today. Got to pull up the tweet I was looking for the first thing we're talking about. It's draft week. Like, happy draft week, Jake. We are 4 days away from the NFL draft. I will be doing a mock probably today.
Yeah.
Question mark. Getting that out tonight or tomorrow. Question mark. I don't know why I keep doing it with my hands. I just love to do it. But I will have a mock draft. I'll probably have two this week. I'll probably have like one tonight, and then I'll have one like Thursday morning, which is like my day of mock draft.
Also tomorrow, we're probably going to record the Discord mock draft, which we did. So then Wednesday, or Thursday morning, it'll probably go up, whichever one.
Or Tuesday night.
Like,
fuck it.
If you're watching on YouTube, check that out too.
Yeah, it was a great thing. Like, we basically, everyone in the Discord that wanted to do it got a team. And we went through a mock draft. They were the GM. They made the pick. There were some good picks. There were some interesting picks. And Jake and I are going to talk about it. That'll be on YouTube at MVP Sports. Remember, if you're not in the Discord is the place to be. It's the greatest community in the universe, the MVP Discord. If you're on YouTube, that link is down below. ! Discord into Twitch chat. Get you that link. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids. I have a frog in my throat, is the place where you can support us. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch and get rewarded for doing so. Bronze gets you into the voice chats in the Discord. So when we have watch-alongs, boom, you can go ahead and talk. We can talk to the community while we're watching something, or to be honest, just shoot the shit. Because half the time we're not even watching things anymore. We're just shooting the shit as a community. Silver and above, you get to not only ask us questions, but you get to vote on Wet Boys each and every day. At the gold tier, you get things like mock drafts and big boards a week early before everyone else can get them. And then platinum tier, you get your name mentioned in every single show. Thank you to our Patreon sponsor, Pat Hill. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We are on YouTube at MVP Sports, not MVP. I do that as, I don't know if it's just me being me and not enunciating, Jake, but I usually say MVP. It's MVP, not MVP. But the first thing we are talking about today, Jake, has to do with something that went down on Friday. We got trades going down on Friday. And you like how I did that? Bringing that a blast in the past,
when we pre-record, he's getting frisky.
Well, I can, because if I say anything that's like, ooh, shouldn't have said that, we can cut it out. But the Chiefs and the Ravens made a trade. Basically, Orlando Brown, who we knew was on the market, got traded, and he's going to the Chiefs. The Chiefs get Orlando Brown, a second-round pick this year from the Ravens, which will be number 58, and a sixth-round pick in next year's draft, whereas Baltimore gets the 31 pick this year, so they get their second first-round pick. They get a third-rounder this year, the 94th, a fourth-rounder this year, the 136th pick, and a fifth-rounder in next year's draft. We're going to kind of take this in two ways. We're going to look at the Chiefs first, then we're going to really look at the meat and potatoes and how this trade affects Thursday's draft. But really the first thing, because it's the shorter of the two, the Chiefs, Jake, obviously this is a good trade, but what is your thought on this with the Chiefs? Because they have literally remade now their O-line in one season, as Brown was traded for. Kyle Long was brought in this season. Joe Tunley from the Patriots was brought in this offseason. They're also, you mentioned pre-show, they're getting their boy Duvernay Tardif back because he only left last year to go fight COVID, be there on the front lines. Because remember, it takes all of us. What are your thoughts on Orlando Brown being a member of the KC Chiefs?
I mean, last year in the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes still basically kept them in the game for most of the game with literally no offensive line in front of them. And now you're adding some elite offensive linemen in front of him in Orlando Brown, Joe Tunney. I mean, Duvernay Tardif coming back. It's a win-win for the Chiefs. They had one big issue with their team, and if they want to be a dynasty long term, and that was their offensive line. And now you bring in Orlando Brown. I don't think he's signed a long-term contract yet, but they're talking about one, I believe, is what I read in when he was traded.
Well, I mean, he wanted to get traded to a team where he could sign a long-term contract. He did not want it to be a one and done, I believe.
So I assume that a long-term deal is coming soon, if not like imminent before the draft. So, I mean, this is great. This is a win-win for both sides. The Ravens get a little bit of compensation. They didn't want to pay him. They get him off their books. And then the Chiefs get what they desperately needed, an elite tackle. And I know he had somewhat of a down year last year, but that comes down to more not wanting to be there and kind of getting moved around and the whole situation. I think he goes back to being an elite offensive lineman this year. And you give Patrick Mahomes any number of elite offensive linemen like they've done this offseason, and the Chiefs are going to be the favorites walk into this year for the Super Bowl once again because of these moves. And
the thing that makes sense to me with this trade, because I'll be honest, I kind of forgot that Orlando Brown was even on the market because there was the news that, they're looking to trade him, but then that news kind of just died. Like, okay, is anyone going to trade for Orlando Brown? I guess not. For the Chiefs also, this makes sense because if you look at, I'll even pull him in because his pick doesn't matter anymore because the pick got traded to the Ravens. But JD, who had the Chiefs pick in our Discord mock, he even had them going with offensive tackle. And I figured, like most people in their mocks at 31, had the Chiefs going with some sort of an offensive tackle there. So, like, the reason why this even makes sense more so, and yet again, people are going to say, well, Ricky, duh, big brain there, like, sarcastically, is would I rather have a rookie offensive tackle that I have to teach a lot or a all-pro tackle who is a veteran, knows what to do, and can help us? Because this team, Super Bowl window, that is what they're in. Like, they feel like, and yet again, Chief fans, tell me if I'm wrong. Jake, you tell me if you feel the same way. I feel like this Chiefs team might feel like they got a Super Bowl robbed from them last year. And I'm not saying like robbed from the refs, robbed from the Bucks. I'm saying robbed from, like, if Patrick Mahomes is 100% healthy, that game is completely different.
And the offensive line.
And the offensive line. Like, they feel like they were robbed in that sense, that they were the better team on that field. No disrespect to the Bucks. They went out there and won the game. Full disrespect. Dr. Disrespect to the Bucks. But I mean, that's just it. Like, you would rather have a veteran tackle rather than drafting a rookie where we even know with tackles, they're probably the one position that needs the most work in order to get transition from the college game into the pro game.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs knew exactly what they needed this offseason. That's why they've been able to build what they have, is that I think there's a correlation between front office and head coach, and they have the same vision building this team out than they have for a while since I mean, it took balls to trade up for Patrick Mahomes and sit him behind Alex Smith for a year, and clearly they were right. So they've made good moves basically every offseason. I mean, getting Tyrann Mathieu 2 years ago now, I mean, that's turned out to be an absolute steal. And then keeping Chris Jones and Frank Clark on the team have been great too. So when they were both rumored to be traded out at one point or another. So, I mean, this team continues to make good picks and continues to make good decisions in their front office, and that's why they have the potential to become the next dynasty in the NFL with the Patriots, fading out. And I don't think the Bucs will be a dynasty. They might get to another Super Bowl, but the Chiefs.
I love how you said it like the Emperor in Mulan, a dynasty.
A dynasty. A dynasty. I think the Chiefs are here to stay, and these moves are really, really big for them to continue to dominate the AFC with the Bills. Little lean in with the Bills, but I think the Chiefs are going to continue to dominate if they can stay healthy.
Well, let's move on then. The other side to this coin is the Baltimore Ravens. They now have 2 picks, Jake. They now have their own pick, which is 27. They now have the Chiefs pick at 31. Before we talk about who they could take here, what they should who they should look at draft-wise, I've got one simple question for you. And it's a question that everyone has asked since the trade has been made. Are they keeping these 2 picks, or are they using them to move up in the draft?
Yeah, see, I want to say for the longest time, this team has needed wide receivers.
And there's going to be plenty of them.
Wide receivers. But they don't need just any wide receivers. They need elite wide receiver.
Yeah.
So I don't know if these late first-round picks are enough to move up to get to one of the elite wide receivers, but if you can get to the middle of the first round and say a Devonta Smith might slip a little bit or Jalen Waddle might slip a little bit, then you're getting into the good territory. I mean, even Kadarius Toney at the end of the first round would be an upgrade for this team on most of their receivers.
Tankathon, by the way.
I literally just got an alert that said Ravens appear set on drafting a wide receiver for Lamar with one of their first 2-round picks.
So they're not trading. So they're not trading.
Yeah, or they use both straight up bigger receiver.
Yeah.
That was ESPN reporting. That was really funny timing.
Okay.
But yeah, I literally was. They need a wide receiver. They've needed a Marquise Brown. Hollywood Brown is good, but he's not a number 1 receiver in the NFL, and I think everybody knows that. So if you go out and get a guy like a Devonta Smith or a Jalen Waddle, that opens up this team's potential so much. And I know that, people want to hate on Lamar Jackson because they don't like running quarterbacks, but he can't throw the ball when his receivers can't catch the ball. And the reason Mark Andrews was such a big target for him this year is because he was the only consistent guy on the team who could consistently catch the ball and wouldn't drop it. And even he had dropping problems in the red zone. So the team needs to target wide receiver, whether that's trading up or staying where they are and taking a late round first receiver. They have to take a receiver.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to say Tankathon has Terrence Marshall Jr.,
I like that too.
Them taking him with the 31st pick. And the thing I was going to say is I don't think they're trading up to get any of the top 3. I don't think they got the ammo. Both first, they would need more than that. And I don't know if they want to do that. The guy I look at is Rashad Bateman.
Yep.
He's the guy. And the reason why I say that is where you are and where you could possibly move, he should be number 1 on the big board, because him, to me, I think he is one that we talk about prospect fatigue with the top 10 picks. I think there's a little prospect fatigue with Bateman as well. And plus, I mean, Bateman had that year. Oh, was it him or was it Rondell Moore? I think it was Moore that had the I'm going to sit out. No, I'm going to play. I think Bateman was firm in his decision right from the start. But I mean, another thing of keeping the picks is you can get a wide receiver at 27 or 31. There's going to be a plethora of them, or we think a plethora of them. You mentioned Tooney, Bateman, Marshall Jr. There's also some of the guys that yet again, some people may say, well, Ricky, the ones that you're mentioning now are second round talents, but some people are higher on him, but some people may like Elijah Moore to be that wide receiver for the Ravens. And when you say they need a number 1, my mind goes to trade up, get Bateman. He can be your number 1 wide receiver for you.
I think Terrace Marshall has been somewhat devalued during the draft process, and he's a guy who can literally do just about everything at the receiving position. Big frame at 6'4", good strong hands. He can go medium. He can run. He's a really good route runner, and he can beat guys one-on-one. So if they could walk out of this draft with, say, Zaven Collins and Terrace Marshall with their 2 picks, that is an A plus draft. Like, Terrace Marshall is a guy who, like the Saints, if they were taking a receiver, I wouldn't want them to take Terrace Marshall because his profile is not really similar to Michael Thomas, but it's not exact. You want a speed guy on that team. So, but the Ravens literally need a guy who can just catch the ball. Like, they need a guy who is a consistent target. It's more like they need a budget Michael Thomas because they just need somebody who, when Lamar Jackson's in trouble, that he can look 5-10 yards down the field and he will always be there with his hands out. So I think Terrace Marshall is more of that guy than Rashad Bateman to me. I think Terrace Marshall is a safer pick and has potential upside, but his floor in the NFL is going to be solid. And then, I mean, if they could attack receiver and edge with these 2 picks, I mean, that it's an absolute win for the Ravens in every single way.
Yeah, and I mean, that was the other thing you kind of went into it, so we'll go into it, is because, like, I was looking at Bateman highlights, and it's just like, he is one to me where, and yet again, this kind of goes into the Ravens of, will he, like, where will he go kind of a thing? How high will you have to trade up for him? Because the big question to me is, because you have how we think the wide receivers are going to go is we think Jamar Chase is probably a Bengal, right? And if and if he's not a Bengal, he's a Dolphin. Yeah. Right? Because, like, Kyle Pitts is the linchpin. If Kyle Pitts goes at 4, I think then it probably goes Pitts, Sewell, Chase. If someone trades up to 4, takes a quarterback, it probably goes quarterback, which would probably be Fields or Lance. Probably Lance, because Mac Jones is locked at 3, correct? Mac is locked at 3?
I'm pretty sure it's like 80% Mac now.
So then 3. Lance would be 4. Chase or Lance would be 4. Sewell or Chase would be 5, and then Pitts would be 6.
But you say that, but somebody could still trade up to 4 and take Pitts.
Good point.
Like, that is,
you're right.
That, it is after 3.
But that's the same as the first scenario. That's why I didn't mention that.
Oh yeah, I think the first 3 set now. I think we know, barring a change, I'm pretty sure Mac Jones is going 3. After that, I think all hell breaks loose. Like, I don't, like, the Falcons are going to look to trade back. We heard they were taking calls on Julio. Obviously, a trade can't happen with him until, I think, June 1st, they said. But that a whole lot, the Falcons have to decide what direction they're going in. That's going to have a lot to do with football. Can you hear that noise? Okay, hold on. You talk.
A little bit.
Okay, I'll keep going. Like, the Falcons have to decide.
Someone's opening the garage, Jake. It's okay.
I know. Falcons have to decide what direction they want to go in, and that's going to depend a lot of what happens in this draft, because the Bengals are still the outside chance they take Penei Sewell if he falls to 5, which he probably will now. That's been pretty consensus that he's going to. So it is going to be so interesting to see which receivers are left at that 15 pick, right around where the Ravens could use their 2 picks to trade up for. So I'm interested because I like just about every receiver in this draft. Like, there's not really a receiver that I don't like, because Rashad Bateman and Terrace Marshall you can look at are pretty similar in build, but Bateman's more of the guy who can beat his guy after the catch. His yak, it's my favorite stat in all sports. Yak. His yak is definitely has more of a ceiling than Terrace Marshall, but Terrace Marshall is just the safer route when you're talking about passing balls.
So here's my question. So, because in order to do this for the Ravens, we got to kind of figure out where the top 10 is going a little bit. When it comes to wide receivers, I'm going to say Jamar Chase does not get past 6. He does not get past the Dolphins. He's either a Cincinnati Bengal or he is a Miami Dolphin. After that, Jake is out. Jake is in. Jake's out. Jake's in.
We're good. I don't know. This pre-recording is wild.
So Jalen Waddle, I would say here's the big thing with him.
Yeah.
Is he a lock to go to the Lions? I know we talked last week about the Lions maybe looking at like a Micah Parsons. Like,
they need a receiver.
Is Jalen Waddle a lock for the Lions like everyone thinks? Or could he be someone that slides to like 11 and goes to the Giants?
That's the problem. Like, he's not, because you know what? Penei Sewell could end up falling to the Lions. Like, if the draft is looking how it is, he could fall 4 or 5 picks.
That's a bet. I am saying this, and Bengal fans may disagree with me. Our resident Bengal fan, JD, might disagree with me. If I am the Bengals, Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase. That's your big board. Sewell, Chase, Sewell first, protect your quarterback. Look at that lacerated knee.
I agree, but the way it's trending, it looks like Jamar Chase is the pick. So in mind, I'm going with what the reports are that Jamar Chase is probably the pick.
Not everyone can be as smart as us, Jake. Not everyone can be as smart as us.
Yeah, it hurts sometimes. And then who's going to take Penei Sewell then? Like, if
I'm the Dolphins, I dive all over that 6. See,
but they already took tackles last year, so they're going to do it again.
I don't care. I take it again.
I agree. But then if this is going how you're saying, then Kyle Pitts is there at 6 for the Dolphins. So they're sitting there and they're like, if somebody trades up for a quarterback at 4 and Trey Lance or Mac Jones goes 4, and then you're sitting there at 5 and say Jamar Chase goes, and then the Dolphins are sitting there like, shit. I mean, Kyle Pitts is there and Penei Sewell is there. Yeah. At that point, I'd also say if Pitts falls to 5, the Bengals should take him. Also, I think any team should take Kyle Pitts. He's an absolute
clear
stud.
BPA.
Yes, clear BPA after the first 2 quarterbacks, I think.
Remember during the 1.0 days when Penei Sewell,
he was
Penei Sewell, Kyle Pitts was like a 15th round. 15th.
People were talking about him falling to the Patriots, and everybody was like, "Oh no!" And
where do you think? A little fun game. Where do you think I had him in my first ever mock draft?
13.
Let's see, 2021 mock draft. So 1.0, I had Kyle Pitts to the Patriots at 13.
Yeah. Oh, I was right. Give me it.
And my notes were Christian Barmore would be a reach here. Plus, Pats could use a pass-catching tight end over a wide receiver at the moment. Then in 2.0, I had him at 15 to the Patriots. I said quarterback or pass catcher are most likely the options here. Will they get Jimmy G? Will they trade up for a quarterback? If not, Pitts is a steal at 15.
You were right. So, yeah, he was a steal at 15.
Too bad he won't be there now.
This draft is so wild because, I think it's stacked with talent. And I think there's talent at almost every single area of the game. But there's so many different directions that it could go because while there's a lot of talent, none of it after, the top 4, I think. Top 5. Because I think after the first 2 quarterbacks, Kyle Pitts, Penei Sewell, and Jamar Chase, nobody really separates themselves as I'm the BPA by far. There's nobody better than me. So
I agree.
It's going to be so interesting to see because there's a outside chance that a defensive player doesn't go in the top 10. There's a very good chance of that.
It hinges on the Cowboys at 10.
Yeah, Surtain.
Because if they go Surtain, boom, there's your defensive player.
Yeah, but if Jerry Jones is sitting up there, and if there's a skill position player that falls just a little bit, Jerry Jones is like, I want that skill position player.
So I got a question for you, and this is we're gonna do this on Wednesday. We're gonna have a complete segment where we just dive into the different bets and stuff for people who like to bet on different props and stuff for the draft. I believe there is let's see, first cornerback drafted. I don't want that. Round 1 totals. There we go. I wish they had. So here's the thing I was looking for. So they have for example, total defensive picked in round 1. I wish they had a picks in the first round kind of a thing. Yeah.
Well, you can. If we're talking predictions, right? What do you think happens? Yeah. If you had to rate your top 5, if you were parlaying your top 5,
I'm gonna do this for you because this is a prop that we could do. We're talking about wide receivers, right? Jake, tell me who's the first 4 wide receivers drafted in the exact order. So who's the first? Who's the second? Who's the third? Who's the fourth?
Okay, I gotta think. Okay, Jamar Chase is 1. That's not really. We know that Jamar Chase is going to be 1. I am barring some big brain, big hand. Technically Kyle Pitts, but they're not saying he's a receiver. So
wide receiver.
I think it's still gonna go Chase, Smith, Waddle, and then Bateman.
Okay, that's it. That's the 4. So what you said, Chase, Smith, Waddle, Bateman. Do you want to know the odds on that order?
It's got to be the lowest because that's
it is not. It is the third. So it's the third highest.
Oh,
So
not going to be right.
Number one at 340 is Chase, Waddle, Smith, Bateman, 340.
Okay, so they have Waddle going before
350
Smith,
is Chase, Waddle, Smith, Tooney. 350. The order you said is third at 370. Chase, Smith, Waddle, Bateman. And then 380 is Chase, Smith, Waddle, Kadarius Tooney. And then things kind of change Ed and Terrence Marshall into the list. I love how every one of them, though, like every single one that you can pick, has Jamar Chase at number one.
We all know
Jamar thinks Jamar Chase is going anywhere close to below 21. Or below number one. He is number one.
Yeah, because I mean, even if he falls like past 5 and 6 somehow, like if and the Lions get near him, the Lions are going to literally snap up Jamar Chase. Like,
you know what?
That's a possibility too.
That might be a bet I take on Wednesday, but I would be different. I would say, I would go Chase, Waddle, Smith, Bateman. Like, that's a bet I can throw $2 or $3 on and try to win 6 to 9 or 10 at that point.
6-9. I mean, there's a and this isn't even being talked about really, but there is a real possibility that, say, 4 quarterbacks go in a row, like somebody trades up to get them, or if the Falcons take Trey Lance, which is still an outside chance of happening.
Naturally.
If the next 2 picks are Pitts and Sewell, the Lions get Jamar Chase, and they literally that is like their dream scenario. If they can get Jamar Chase at 7 without having to give up anything to move up, that is, or even oh my, I can't wait because there's so many different possibilities and so many different outcomes that could happen. It's going to be, I'm finally ready just to see what it is so I can stop trying to predict it and be completely wrong.
And I mean, with the going back, kind of getting this back to the Ravens, because we're talking wide receivers.
Oh yeah. Ravens.
With the other pick, because they didn't say if they're going to go 31-27 with that wide receiver.
Yep.
The other thing is, if they're going to keep the pick, one of them is going to be wide receiver.
Yep.
What do you do with that other pick? Because there is a big need. There's a lot of people, like you say, Xavier Collins and Terrence Marshall would be a good draft for them. They do need an edge rusher. However, they also, here's the thing with the Ravens. The one pick I have mocked to death for them is Morrig, the safety from TCU. He's the only top safety in the draft. Yep. He's the only number 1 safety. So, there's a question of, if he's there at 27, do you go with Morwig? Do you go with an offensive tackle? At about that pick, you're looking at maybe a Cosme, maybe a Vera-Tucker's not falling that far. That's
I'm saying
that's my personal pick.
If a Tevin Jenkins falls, which he's around 19 to 20 on most mocks.
Depends on if Washington or Chicago's going to trade up for a quarterback.
Exactly. And if he falls a little bit, if he somehow falls 27, he's the pick without a second guess. But I would say that edge and wide receiver are 1-2. If you want to go with the Morrig at whichever, it doesn't really matter which one on it. He'll probably be there at 27.
Yeah.
That I could understand that. I'm not in love with Morrig, and I don't. I just think I think the one thing this draft class lacks is safeties. I don't think the safeties are very good in this draft. So I mean, that's a negative, but I wouldn't
take the best one then.
But is the best one that good? It's just correlated to the rest of the group. He looks better.
Yeah. The other thing that I think you got to look at too is who, the guy that you're drafting, whether it be tackle, edge rusher, safety. How much are you going to expect from them right away? Safety, the 2 safeties that they have right now, according to our lads, you got Chuck Clark and Deshaun Elliott. They desperately need a safety. Whereas edge rusher, they have Pernell McPhee, former Bear. They also have Derek Wolfe on the other side, being a defensive end. So, do they look at it and go, well, we could get away with not drafting an edge here and go with either the tackle or the safety? Their tackles right now, unless there was an injury that I'm forgetting, our lads has Stanley at left tackle, Bozeman at left guard, Makari now at center, Kevin Zietler at right guard, and Trey Phillips at right tackle. I think if you're going BPA, the BPA here will probably be an edge rusher. Good, if it's a need. However, I kind of lean towards this team going double the offense, double the power. Give me an offensive tackle. Give me someone who can protect Lamar. Give me someone who can, or do they double down on wide receiver?
I don't think that.
If a Tooney's there, they take Tooney, and then if Marshall's there, they take Marshall, and they go, okay, Lamar, we're giving you 2 weapons, 2 in the first.
Yeah, I think the offensive tackle depth is there in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
So in the second round, if you want a Jalen Mayfield or a Liam Eichenberg, I think that's that's something you can wait on and maybe move up in the second round to go and get if you want one of those guys.
I think they gave up their second though.
Okay, well they can't do that then.
Yeah, I think I'm double checking the Adam Schefter tweet.
Too much to take.
I'm pretty sure they gave up their second to the Chiefs to move on from Brown.
Okay, well, I'll disregard that fact then. There is tackle depth in this class, though. If they still want to move up into the second round and take one of them. Okay.
So they gave up their second and got an extra third and an extra fourth.
Okay, well, then they have extra third and extra fourth to move up into the second if they really want one of them. I think you have to. I understand the needs on defense, and they are there and they are glaring, but you need a receiver bad. You need a wide that one of these picks. I think we both agree has to be nailed down a wide receiver. It's the second pick. Could be a Mo Rig, could be an edge rusher. I think you attack an offense and a defense pick in the first round. So I think the edge rusher a lot depends on who falls to them. I'm not huge on Gregory Rousseau. It's pretty funny how we look back and he was in the top 10 really in the first and 1.0s. And I was sitting here being like, yeah, I don't really like him. And now he's a second round prospect. So I'll pat myself on the back there. So I don't think Gregory Rousseau should be the pick. If Zaven Collins and Mo Rig are there, I would take Collins. I could see you taking Mo Rig. I think it's just whoever you evaluate is the better prospect. So I think the Ravens did a great job in the Orlando Brown trade, and to be able to hit 2 needs in a team that desperately needs it in the first round in this type of draft that's deep, I think it's a big win-win for them.
They have a collection on their first round picks. They have 2 firsts, their own and KC's. They have 2 thirds, KC's pick, and then a compensatory pick that they have, 105. In the 4th, they have their own and KC's. In the 5th, they have their own and a comp pick, and then they have their own pick in the 6th round. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total picks throughout the entire weekend. But let's move away from the Ravens for a little bit. And let's end the show with some Justin Fields. Because there was what we mentioned earlier, how Justin Fields, it's kind of locked in that the top 3 is going to be Lawrence, Wilson, Mac Jones. Lawrence, Wilson, Mac Jones. That's going to be your top 3 when we get to Thursday night. The question then becomes, what happens with Justin Fields? Because for me, the way my big board kind of goes with quarterbacks, I would say, if I was drafting, I like Wilson a lot, but I know that, Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, to me, there's no miss either way. It's just, who do you prefer? That's how I think. I think that everyone's overanalyzing Trevor Lawrence, and everyone's not giving Zach Wilson enough credit. Zach Wilson is going to be the Josh Allen of this draft. Book it. After that, I personally like Trey Lance better than the rest of them. I think Trey Lance is 3rd. Then I would put Fields by default because I think that I would go with the athletic quarterback over a Mac Jones. Then Mac Jones, then Kyle Trask. What happens with Justin Fields, Jake? What is your thought on the quarterback situation?
I think Justin Fields is clearing away. He's come back, and I think he's the 3rd best quarterback by far. And I saw a tweet today that was pretty funny. It made me laugh. It said, Mac Jones isn't athletic, but he's accurate. Trey Lance isn't accurate, but he's athletic.
Yeah.
And then there's Justin Fields, who's both. So I don't get the fascination with Mac Jones. I think maybe he could be an all right quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying that he's not going to win games, whatever that is. But Justin Fields has MVP potential as a quarterback.
Can I say one thing about Mac Jones that maybe makes sense if you're a Niners fan?
He's white.
No. Yeah, but not about that. The fact is, what's the one thing everyone's basically using as a negative about him? That he had too much what around him at Alabama?
Talent.
What's he going to have in San Francisco?
Talent.
Like, that's the only reason where it's like, is it the pick that I would make? No, but I understand. If Mac Jones is a 3rd overall pick, I understand, and it's a wait and see. Am I proven wrong? Am I proven right?
I will just give anybody a preference. On Thursday night, we're doing a draft show for reacting live to the draft, where we on Twitch. And if you want to see my reaction to Mac Jones at 3, you can come on, because I'm pretty sure there will be a rant ensuing if he goes 3.
Nice.
Hopefully he doesn't. But I think more like the Tingus Pingus.
Who the fuck is Tingus Pingus?
Who is Mac Jones? Who is this white boy? But I don't. What was the? I can't remember the NBA player. What NBA player called a white dude a bitch ass white boy? I can't remember which one it was. You look it up, because that's all I can think about now. Whenever we mention that, I get the fascination. I don't know. I don't get what is going on with Justin Fields, and I don't understand.
Montrezl Harrell called Luka a bitch ass white boy.
Yeah, bitch ass white boy. That's and then Ernie Johnson said it on TNT, and it's just a meme now, because they just quoted the whole video of Ernie Johnson going bitch ass white boy. But Justin Fields is far and away the 3rd best quarterback at this moment. I think Trey Lance has a chance to jump him if he sits a year and ends up in the right situation. But Justin Fields, for everybody criticizing him for that Alabama game, are we not going to talk about what he did against Clemson, when he literally washed the floor against Clemson?
I mean, Clemson shits the bed. Like, Clemson's either going to do 2 things, Jake. They're either going to win the national championship, or they're going to shit the bed. One of the 2. They either shit the bed in the first round, or they win the national championship.
I get that, but that takes away from what he did. I mean,
I know.
The man had 385 yards on 6 touchdowns and 1 interception against one of the best college teams in the entire year.
But Jake, that defense was missing some players. They were missing some players.
That's fine. But then you go and look at the Alabama game, and he played bad. Yeah, and they got killed. Sure. But if you watch back the footage, I mean, that offensive line was horrid. And it's almost the same way we look at Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. It wasn't Patrick Mahomes' fault. We all know that. If you watch the game, you know it wasn't his fault. The offensive line was horrid. He had no time to throw. And that is similar to Justin Fields. I think if Justin Fields falls, and if you want to hear my prediction now, I think the Patriots are going to end up with Justin Fields. I genuinely believe that they are going to move up. I don't know exactly which team. The back end of the top 10 would be my assumption, and they're going to move up, and they're going to take Justin Fields. I think it's going to be a win-win. I think Justin Fields is a superb quarterback and has the potential to be an MVP eventually. I genuinely think the top 3 quarterbacks in this class do. Trey Lance is way more of a project, and I just think Mac Jones tops out an average quarterback. I think he tops out as a lazy white boy comparison of an Alex Smith, who is not athletic, good, accurate thrower, game manager, not going to lose you games on his own, but he's solid. And maybe that's what the 49ers want. But when you're picking at 3 and you give up multiple first round picks to move up, you need to aim higher. And if there's an MVP caliber potential quarterback there, you take him.
So I'm gonna go a different route than you. Same avenue, different route. Someone will trade up for him, but it ain't gonna be no Patriots, Jake. No, not the Bears even. Get used to this. There has been a trade at the number 10 pick. The Dallas Cowboys are sending their pick over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with the 10th overall pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Justin Fields. I think it's going to be very similar to what happened with Patrick Mahomes, where the Steelers are sitting at, they're 24, not 27, where the Chiefs were when they drafted. But like a first, a third this year, and then next year's first could move the Steelers up from, do they even have their third? Yes, they do. So their first this year, a third this year, a first next year could move them up to the 10th overall pick. We've talked about the Cowboys potentially looking to trade back. Not looking, but hey, listening to offers. And if we're sitting there and Waddle and Chase are already off the board, I mean, yeah, you could take Surtain if you're the Cowboys, but like people could say, but sir, and this is the Jerry, we're going to get an extra first for this. There's guys in the second or in that late first that we can get on defense to really help us. I am. It's just a hunch I have. It's a hunch that looking at Tomlin and how he interacted with Justin Fields at his pro day when they talked in person and everything that started to come out about that, I think that Tomlin really likes Justin Fields. I think that he's going to be the pick for the Steelers. It ain't Dewey Haskins. And then Justin Fields gets the almost like the Trey Lance treatment of he can sit. It's not the Trey Lance treatment. I should say like with Patrick Mahomes. Could Patrick Mahomes have stepped in and started day one? Yeah, he probably could. Would he have done anything good his rookie year? I don't know. I'll probably say no, but then he's slinging like sidearm passes and flicks with his opposite hand as a rookie. Like that could have happened. But like yes, they have Big Ben. He will sit behind Big Ben year one. Big Ben at the end of the year, hey, it's been a great career. You can either go play somewhere else, you can retire in the black and gold, and then it's Justin Fields' time afterwards. Because this Steeler organization has tried everything that they could to try to get the successor to Big Ben. Remember when, Joshua Dobbs is going to be the successor. Mason Rudolph is going to be the successor. Now it's, Dewey Haskins, the meme. It's not serious. It's a meme. Is going to be the successor. I would take Justin Fields. Even though I am low on Justin Fields, I would take him over any of those quarterbacks, especially if you got to sit behind Big Ben for a year in the NFL.
Yeah, as a Pennsylvania native, I know the Pittsburgh Steelers organization very well. I have all my friends growing up were 90% of them were Steeler fans. So I have a great despise for the Steeler organization. But the one thing I would give the Steeler organization is they are loyal to a fault. Yeah. And that is what I think is going to be the case again this year, is that while what you said all made sense, it makes complete sense, and it should be probably what the Steelers think about doing, but they won't. They won't. They won't. Because they will not take another quarterback while Big Ben's there, just because, or they won't trade up for another one. It'd be a shock to me if they did.
Notice how you and I are going with things that usually don't happen though. Like people can say that about the Patriots too. Like Bill don't trade up, Bill ain't trading up.
What did I say last podcast? That was during Tom Brady era. Tom Brady's gone.
I'm just saying, Bill don't trade up.
Yeah, but remember, they didn't spend a lot of money in free agency, and Lord,
I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying, until I'm proven wrong, Bill don't trade up. Until I actually see it happen, I can't believe it.
I know. I that's the same thing with the Steelers. I just don't see them going against Big Ben. It never happened.
But they wouldn't be. Like, I think this is Big Ben's last season in Pittsburgh.
Big Ben's a prima donna bitch, so he would probably take it as that he was.
And something else that I'm not sure if I can say on Twitch, so I'm not going to.
He's a criminal. Yeah, I know.
He's a criminal, starts with an R, Georgia. But I mean, like, this is his last year. We know this is his last year with the Steelers. He's got the 1-year deal. They're basically going to be like, if you want to play, that's great, but go play somewhere else, or you can retire with the Steelers and enter our Hall of Fame year one. That's why I feel like it's almost like who would you rather have starting next year if you're the Steelers? Mason Rudolph or Justin Fields?
Oh, Dewey Haskins.
Dewey, baby.
Dwayne Haskins.
It's all about Dewey Haskins.
I genuinely don't. I don't know what direction. I think the Steelers are headed towards a full rebuild anyways. Yeah. But they are very good at delaying the inevitable. That's what the Pittsburgh Steelers organization has done for nearly a decade now. Is after they won the Super Bowl, after the Antonio Brown stuff and Le'Veon Bell left, they were never the same. And they needed to rebuild, and they still haven't. And maybe eventually now they will. I don't know if I necessarily see them moving up to get him. Maybe Trey Lance is a more realistic target for the Steelers because he has to sit a year, and maybe that sits better with Big Ben. Yeah. And he has to sit down for a year. It's very interesting because where do these guys fall, and do somebody trade up to 4 to get a quarterback, or do the Falcons just want Kyle Pitts, or do the Falcons take Trey Lance or Justin Fields? It's gonna be very interesting to see where all these quarterbacks fall. I'm gonna stick with the Patriots though, just because it's heavily rumored. I know it already got reported today that they were in talks to trade up to try to take Justin Fields. So I think that's probably what ends up happening.
So here's another team that I want to throw out there that Tankathon has Justin Fields going too. I had to think in my head. I'm like, no, they're not going. It has Justin Fields going too. I am against them taking a quarterback. They already have a quarterback. When he was drafted, I was like, well, yeah, he was good, but we'll see how he is in the NFL. Now I've kind of turned into like a defender of this player, much like how Dave was a James Harden defender when he was in Houston, and we used to do the fast break with Sean. The Denver Broncos, because there's a little bit of rumors, Jake, that not only will the Broncos be maybe drafting a quarterback, but I've also seen an article where Jordan Love has now become the prime target for the Denver Broncos if they do not draft a quarterback. What the hell is wrong with Drew Lock? Because I ain't seeing it.
We did talk about this last week.
I know, and this is going to be something I rant about all the way until Thursday, is that the Broncos do not need a quarterback. Stop mocking a quarterback to them. If Patrick Surtain is there, give Vic Fangio more defense. You do realize Chubb and Von Miller did not play last year. Did not play. What do you expect the team to do when your two best pass rushers aren't out there with a coach that the one thing he does very well is blitz scheming and rushing the passer?
I'm not high. I'm not high on Drew Lock. I went over this last week. I think he's an average quarterback. That's what his potential taps out to be. So I think you only take a quarterback if you think he can become elite. Mm-hmm. So if Trey Lance or Justin Fields is there, then I consider the pick. I don't really consider trading up if I'm them. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give up capital when I already have an all right quarterback. But if Trey Lance or Justin Fields falls to them, I would heavily consider taking one of the two. Just because while I think Drew Lock's all right, I think those two have much higher ceilings in the NFL.
There's some things that kind of agree with you. There's some things that I don't agree with. Like one that I agree with. Am I saying Drew Lock is the franchise? No. I'm just saying what have we seen from him that has been like, oh, he's trash. It's not like a Mitchell Trubisky situation in Denver. And it bodes the question of, I'll ask this to you. With their pass rushers back and the top corner in this draft, let's say that's where they went. Pass rushers coming back, top pass rusher or top cornerback in the draft. How successful do you see this team being? Like, could they be a team that sneaks in to that the extra playoff spot that was added? Or on the other side,
their division's too good.
Yeah, or on the other side, next year then, there's no excuses if Drew Lock is bad. Because it's like, hey, we got our defense is back. Like, the defense is helping you.
There it goes again.
There is no negativity to be had on the defensive side. And next year they can go quarterback. There's this thing where we look at the next year's quarterbacks and we always go, yeah, but we don't know how many are going to be good. Dude, I'm telling you, next year is going to be another stacked quarterback class, and we're going to be gushing over them. Rattler, Slovis, Howell, we're going to be gushing over these guys.
Yeah, I think the Drew Lock case, he was all right in the 5 games that he got in 2019, and then last year he threw 15 interceptions in 13 games. So he wasn't very good last year. His completion percentage went down.
The Broncos weren't really good last year.
Yeah, and I agree. So this is his make or break year, but I don't think my point is regardless of what you think of Drew Lock, I think everybody can agree he's never going to be an elite quarterback. I think that is pretty consensus that maybe he tops out as a little slightly above average quarterback, but he's never going to be elite. So if these quarterbacks, if Justin Fields or Trey Lance are there, and we would both agree that Trey Lance and Justin Fields have potential to be elite quarterbacks. Yeah. You don't pass up on that opportunity just because you think that Drew Lock might be an above average quarterback.
See, I'm going to say it though. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to throw Trey Lance and Fields into this. How I feel with the quarterbacks this year, Lawrence and Wilson, I'm pretty fucking sure they're going to be elite. Lance, higher odds, but lower odds than them. I think Lance will probably end up being a really good quarterback at the next level. I don't see him being elite. I don't see Fields being elite. I see his potential being if he hits the max of his potential, he's a really good quarterback, but he'll probably be better than good, but not really good, somewhere right in the middle. That's how I sit with Fields.
I think Fields has elite MVP potential. I'll say it over and over again. I think he is by far and away the third best quarterback. I think He has athleticism, accuracy, knowledge, ability to read, the ability to read defenses at an elite level. And the notion that he only goes through, if his first read isn't there, he breaks away. He threw to his non-first read more than any other quarterback in college football last year. So all the notions that go against him are just completely false and untrue. They're false. They're wrong. It's fake news. It's just completely not true when coming to Justin Fields. So like I said, it's definitely prospect fatigue. And from the beginning, I've said that Zach Wilson, I think, is the first or second best quarterback in this draft. Him and Trevor Lawrence, obviously. But I've always been consistent. I think Fields is at 3, and I think he stays at 3. And Trey Lance, touching on his potential, I think his potential is much more where he ends up. Like if he gets a former or current elite quarterback in front of him and can learn from them, or a coach who's good at molding quarterbacks and can sit a year, then I think his potential drastically changes.
I mean, let's be honest. Every situation he can get drafted to, I hope he'd be sitting because, like,
well, not the Broncos. He'd probably start on the Broncos.
I think he'd sit behind Drew Lock.
Or Drew Lock would start for like 2 games, throw 4 interceptions, and then get benched.
I could see a Patrick Mahomes like situation where Drew Lock starts like 17, or he starts 16, and then he plays the 17 game.
Yeah, I mean the Falcons, I think, are the perfect situation for Trey Lance. I just don't think they're going to take him at this point.
Well, because you got the Falcons have Matt Ryan, the Broncos could do Drew Lock over him. The Bears technically have Andy Dalton or Nick Foles that they can start over him, and then the Washington football team has Fitzmagic.
Yeah, that's definitely. But I don't think it's not just about sitting; it's about having the quarterback in front of him to learn from. So while the Broncos, he might not start, which he probably should. He's probably better than Drew Lock.
Do you think he? And yet again, I'm going more Fitzmagic, Andy Dalton. Do you think he can learn nothing from those quarterbacks?
No, those guys are good. I was just pointing out the Broncos. I think the Falcons, the Bears, and the football team are really good because as long as you have a veteran quarterback who's been in the league for a while and maybe has won some things, then that is a good quarterback to learn from and hopefully grow his game like Alex Smith was for Mahomes.
Can I be completely honest, though? If you're going to Denver, the quarterback who's in front of you is not the one you're learning from. I'm picking the brain of John Elway as much as possible.
That's
I know
fair,
John Elway's an older guy.
I was going to say, Elway's also been bad at developing and drafting quarterbacks. So maybe if he takes Trey Lance, I don't like Trey Lance.
Bad at developing, but like I'm saying, like as a quarterback, it doesn't hurt to pick the mind of a former quarterback.
True.
Like a former legend and just be like, hey, like I want to pick your mind and try to get better at this. Because Vic Fangio, more defensive coach, obviously a defensive coach. It's just like I'm like you. I can't wait until we get to Thursday. I can't wait to see where all these guys go because with Fields, I don't want to say what's his over-under even for draft position. His over-under right now is player over-under. They have him. Shit, they've had a lot of quarterbacks. Over under 8.5. So the under is the favorite right now, minus 184. So Vegas is thinking he's drafted within the first 8 picks. Over is plus 150. I may hammer that over with about a couple bucks. Because if you think he's getting drafted at 10, someone's trading up, that plus 50 value is pretty good.
Yeah, I might say over just because I think that 9-10 slot I think is where somebody trades up for him. It's just it's so wild though because he could go at 4. Like
he could. Someone could trade up at 4. I could see the Falcons doing it, but I think if the Falcons stay there, Kyle Pitts is your pick.
Yeah, I would have to agree.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on Justin Fields?
I think he's criminally underrated, and do you want me to say it for the 5th time this draft?
Yes.
This video, I think he has MVP potential, and I think he's going to be a superb quarterback, and I think that taking Mac Jones over him is a joke.
Maybe I'm undervaluing him, but how I feel, my tiers, tier 1 is Wilson Lawrence. They're the elite level. Trey Lance and Justin Fields are tier 2. They're the really good value. Kyle Trask and Mac Jones are the tier 3.
That's what we should do on Wednesday.
What?
We should do tiered lists on
tiered
Wednesday.
List? We could do that.
Tiered like prospect break on
so we're workshopping this right now live. All the positions?
Major we can decide which positions we want. Like we don't have to do safeties because Mo Riggs level 1 and then everybody else is way below him. Like
I mean, we could put safeties and corners together.
Yeah, that works too.
Like we could do safeties and corners together, all offensive linemen.
Yeah.
D-line and edge rushers. We can just kind of edge rushers are really good. We got to keep edge rushers on its own.
Okay.
It's just like edge rushers, like the quarterback of the defense. You need one.
Yep.
You really need one.
That'd be good topics though.
So we got two of the topics for Wednesday, talking about bets, talking about drafts. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section about anything that we talked about today. Also, I am sorry, Twitch chat. You might be sitting there going, guys, you didn't interact with us all show. That's because it's 1:15. I'm looking at the clock and it says 1:15 my time. So we're in the past. Like, hello, future. I'm in the past right now. So we had to pre-record the show because Jake's going to the Yankee game. Jake, I hope you have a good time at the Yankee game.
Thank you.
Who are they playing?
The Orioles. It's in Baltimore.
I was gonna say I hope they win, but you should fucking beat the Orioles.
Hey, the Orioles have a better record than the Yankees right now. So.
I know. Is Mean on the mound? Because Mean's been playing good.
No, it's Harvey versus Davey. Davey got his first start of the year today.
I don't know how that game's gonna be. It's not like you're seeing Garrett Cole out there or.
That's all right. We might get. Do
you guys?
Keuchel.
No, not Keuchel. Corey Kluber. That's something. Keuchel's a White Sox.
We might get an offensive showdown though, which I'm down for.
Make it more home runs from the Bronx Bombers.
Exactly.
But that is going to do it for us today. Remember, join the MVP Discord, greatest community in the universe. Link down below on YouTube. !Discord into Twitch chat gets you that link. You can also support us at patreon.com/MVPvids or throw us a sub on Twitch and get rewarded for it. Thank you to our Patreon sponsor, Pat Hill. We're on Twitch Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. We are on YouTube at MVP Sports. The special announcements I will say here at the end. Live stream for the draft on Thursday. We'll be doing that. Tomorrow's show will be NBA with Soaps and Dave, so stay tuned for that. Want to thank you guys for everything you do, and as always, have a good day, everybody.